Money talks.
Here comes the money.
We are baking bets and we are making money. And like I said last week, we're back. We're back. The parlay hits again. We only get a few incorrect picks, 2 of those picks being huge dogs. And even in the Miles Johns fight, I said I don't even know if I like him as the pick, but I just knew that fight was going to be so close. I even called that it might even be a split decision, which it was. So overall, I'm going to say we had a really good card. UFC Vegas 109, another banger out of the Apex, but we're out of the Apex now. We're going to Chicago. We got UFC 319, one of the most anticipated cards of the entire year. Right? You got Khamzat, you got DDP, you got MVP, you got Jared Cananir, you got Carlos Prates, you got Jeff Neal, the debuting Aaron Pico going against Lerone Murphy. I mean, this card is stacked. So let's just jump right in. Let's talk about UFC 319. Afterwards, make sure you stick around. We'll talk about the Bacon Bets parlay, and we're going to make some money. Let's get into it. I'm not too sure about the bout order with the Ultimate Fighter finales happening on this card, but this is the one we're going to go with. We're going to start with the women's flyweight division, Silva versus Dion Barbosa. These are 2 Brazilian fighters, and Silva calls herself the killer, and let me tell you why I think she's the killer as well. I don't care if it's a change of opponent. She was originally supposed to fight JJ Aldridge. It doesn't change my pick. I'm sticking with Silva. Out of her 18 wins, 16 of them are coming by either knockout or submission. Barbosa is a type fighter as well. She has great grappling pedigree herself. She's a judo black belt and a jiu-jitsu black belt and a former member of the Brazilian Olympic judo team. Her takedown accuracy is only 33% in the UFC, though. And her takedown defense is only 42%. And that's a red flag against a relentless grappler like Silva. While Barbosa has shown she can finish a fight with a submission, as we saw with her arm triangle choke on Diana Belbita, Silva's just on another level when it comes to finding a neck or a limb. So I'm going to pick Silva to hunt for that submission, secure the win. Even if it's not by submission, I think she's going to grind out the decision. Here's another Ultimate Fighter finale with Alibi Idris versus Joseph Morales. I was a big fan of Alibi this season. I think he has natural talent, and I think his ceiling's incredibly high. I think Morales is a gritty vet who used his experience, his prior UFC experience, to beat these young guys on the show. I actually thought he lost in the semifinals, but, we're here now. So you got to give him credit. He made it. But with all that being said, I think Alibi's talent is going to outweigh Morales' experience, and I think Alibi's going to get the win. We're going to go with Alibi on this one. Another former Ultimate Fighter, Brian Battle, going against Nursultan Ruzaboyev. In this middleweight matchup, I'm going to side with Ruzaboyev. I know he's the dog, but he's a giant, man. He's 6'5" with a 76-inch reach. Battle's going up in weight. He's a great fighter, but he's going to have a significant size disadvantage here, both in height and reach and just overall size. The only guy who's really been able to handle Ruzaboyev in the UFC is Joaquin Buckley, which we've seen what Buckley's gone on to do. So like that loss aged very well. And that was even a decision victory, I believe. So Ruzaboyev has serious power. I could see him coming out hot, dominating the rounds early. I think Battle's going to make a late push that might scare us a little bit. But I think with Ruzaboyev's size and power, I think he's going to be able to get so far ahead in the first 2 rounds where the late push isn't going to make a difference. So let's go with the underdog, Ruzaboyev. Edson Barbosa versus Drakkar, close, and we got back-to-back dogs here because I'm taking Drakkar. Barbosa's an absolute legend. I love Edson. He's a striking savant. He's moving back up to the lightweight division for this fight. But Close is a very well-rounded fighter, right? He's a very powerful guy with good wrestling, solid boxing. And I think if Close could weather that storm, I think his wrestling is going to neutralize Barbosa's devastating kicks and grind out a tough decision. Close, because always been hit or miss in his career, so that scares me a little bit because which version of Close are we going to get? But I think when you go against a guy like Edson, you know you have to show up, right? Just because the name alone. This is someone you want on your resume. So I'm going to go with Drakkar getting the win, and we got another underdog cashing. Sticking with the lightweights, we got Chase the Dream Hooper versus Alexander Hernandez. I'm all in on Chase with this one, man. I love Chase. I think if you're an MMA fan that is online at all, you love Chase Hooper. I mean, he's hilarious. He's always talking about the fight game. He watches every card. Chase is the man. Chase is the man. And he's going against Alex Hernandez, who everyone hates. Alex Hernandez's one claim to fame was being a jerk to Cowboy Cerrone. Who's a jerk to Cowboy Cerrone? But I'm going to go all in on Hooper here. I think he's on a roll. He's won 5 straight. His striking has improved a ton. In his last fight, he landed almost double significant strikes of his opponent from distance. So that's showing how far his stand-up's coming, because these aren't just his little, take you down, stay on top pot shots. He's actually winning exchanges on the feet from distance. I do think Hernandez is tough, right? He's a dangerous fighter. He has power and speed, but his takedown defense is 71%, which is almost 3 out of 4, and that sounds good, right? But when you look at Chase Hooper, he's going to shoot more than 4 times around. And I think it's only going to take one time for him to get Hernandez to the ground and either dominate the control for the rest of the round or sub him. Chase is that good on the ground, man. So we're going to go with Chase Hooper for either a submission or a dominant victory. Maybe it might be 29-28, but I'm going to go 30-27 Chase Hooper. All right. We got Jessica Andrade versus Lupi Godinez. And I told you guys when I picked the Magny fight, I never got a Magny fight wrong. And I got the last one wrong. Well, I never got an Andrade fight right. So is this time I finally get an Andrade fight right? I can't pick her. Ever. It's a scientific fact at this point. So if you're an Andrade fan, you're going to like my pick, because I'm going to go with Lupi Godinez. Lupi's a beast. She has a solid 81% takedown defense. I think her relentless pace and pressure is going to wear Andrade down. Andrade does gas out sometimes. And I think going down to strawweight, Andrade has struggled the most physically. And that sounds weird, right? But, she's short, she's small. But and I'm not talking about in the past. I'm talking about when she's recently went back down to strawweight. Obviously, when she was the champ, she wasn't struggling. But when she's tried to go back down recently, I feel like her gas tank has been hit. She's not as strong as she usually is. So I think that weight cut might be a little bit too much for her at this point. So I think Godinez is going to match her on her feet and could outwork her if they do end up in grappling exchanges for a very close decision. Michelle Olesek versus GM3 Gerald Mirart. I'm picking Olesek, and I'm picking him by knockout. He's a certified finisher. Of his 20 career wins, 15 have come by way of knockout. His significant strikes landed per minute is over 5, which puts him in the top tier of most of the middleweights, or definitely the unranked middleweights. He has serious pop in his hands, and when he connects, guys go down. He has 4 first-round KOs in his last 5 wins, and he's not a guy who's looking to go decision. GM3 striking defense is not good. He gets tagged a lot. He was getting tagged by RDR, and I think that close fight with RDR, and everyone's seen what Reinier de Ridder went on to do, I think people are overrating GM3 a little bit, right? I think that when he leaves his chin up, he gets dropped. When you look like the Khamzat fight, he leaves his chin up straight in the air. Michelle's going to find that chin. He's going to put you to sleep. So this one's high risk, high reward, but I'm going to be betting on the power of Olesek to get the job done early and to be able to stay off the ground and put GM3 to sleep. We got Diego Ferreira versus King Green. All right, let's wrap these prelims up, because I love Bobby Green. I do. I think a lot of people like Bobby Green a lot. He's an OG of the sport, but his chin's gone. His chin is gone. Out of his last 5 fights, he's been knocked out 3 times. The other 2, one was a submission loss against Patty, and the other one was a decision win. Ferrer is a solid ground grappler with a dangerous top game. He's not a huge knockout artist, but his pressure and grappling, I think, are going to be too much for Green to handle. I think Ferrer could get him to the mat and grind out a submission or a dominant decision. I'm sorry, King, but to me, it's time you knuckle up. You're going to the BKFC very soon, pal. I don't see his career going too much further in the UFC. Flyweight bout, the returning Kai Asakora going against UFC vet Tim Elliott. Everyone likes Tim Elliott. This is kind of similar to Bobby Green, right? Everyone likes Tim Elliott, but I just don't think that he has enough, right? I think this is a kind of a get-right fight for Asakora. He made his debut against the champ, Alexandre Pantoja, coming in from one championship, and I think it was just a tough stylistic matchup for him that ended in a second-round submission. Now he gets a big step down in competition. Asakora is a very clean, technical striker with serious finishing ability, and he's a big, strong flyweight. Where Pantoja was able to match his physicality, I don't think Elliott's going to be able to do that. Elliot is the better grappler. I just don't know if he's going to be able to match Asakora's physicality. I think he's going to keep it on his feet, and he's going to land some clean chops, potentially even finishing Elliot in the second or third round. So we're going to go with Kai Asakora big here. MVP, Michael Venom Paige going against Jared Cananir. And honestly, I'm switching my pick on this one. Initially, I like Cananir. when I first saw the card. But after rewatching his fight with Izzy, I can't shake the feeling that he was just too hesitant. You can't be frozen like Elsa with Izzy. You know how much he loves that reference. I do think he's tough and durable, and he does find ways to win. He finds a way to make every fight close. But with MVP, he's a puzzle. And he's a guy you can't take pictures against. Because when you take pictures of your opponent and you're going against MVP, you're going to be in for a long night and some serious problems. He has a significant reach advantage. He has the height advantage. I believe it's like 6'4" to 5'11". Cananir's style is just too patient in trying to find an opponent. And you can't find MVP a lot of the times. So I do think he's going to pick him apart. I'm going to go with MVP. I think his unique movement and speed will be just too much for Jared. I think he's going to land the cleaner shots from the outside and win a clear UD. All right, we got Carlos Prates versus Jeff Neal, and in this scrap, I'm picking Prates. Now you might be saying, Prates is coming off a loss against Ian Gary, but look at the fight against Ian Gary. He was getting picked apart for a couple rounds. He was losing, and then he dug deep, and he's a guy that everyone's joking about his win because he's a lifetime smoker. He almost finished him in the 5th. If there was an extra minute in that fight, 30 seconds in that fight, or if Prates would just throw more, I think he would have got the knockout. He would have got the victory against Ian Gary, who might be going for a title shot next, right? Prates is very good. I like him a lot, but I thought the Gary fight was going to be too much because even though no one likes Ian Gary, he's a good fighter, man. Ian Gary is legit. And I think that Prates, I was like, oh, this is a bad matchup for him. And it was like looking that way early. And then I was like, Prates could compete with anyone, man. And I think he's just going to be too much for Jeff Neal. Neal is a bit of a coin flip sometimes. He has amazing one-punch power, but he also been hit or miss with his performances. He is coming off a win, but in some of those losses, he doesn't always show up. Like, the only loss I can remember Neal showing up in is the Shavkat fight. And even though he got finished, it was like a tough, fun, exciting fight. But it just seems like when Jeff Neal's behind, he gets really behind in these fights. So I just trust Prates more here. I know he's going to bring the heat and the pressure for all 15 minutes. So we're going to go with the smoker, Carlos Prates. Next, we got an absolute banger at featherweight with the debuting Aaron Pico against Lerone Murphy. And I'm going to go with the Miracle Murphy. How is he a dog here? How is he the underdog? Pico's a phenom. I get it. He's an athletic freak with the wrestling pedigree, knockout power. I'm so sick of hearing him as a prospect. He's been a prospect for 10 years. At what point are you not a prospect anymore? Let's think about his MMA debut. I know it was a long time ago, but there was all this hype for him, and he got submitted in the first round. And to me, that says the lights can be too bright for him sometimes. Sometimes the lights are too bright for Pico. Murphy's a different beast entirely. He's undefeated in the UFC, 5-0-1. His striking is incredibly clean. He lands 4.5 significant strikes per minute at 54% accuracy, and he's only absorbing about 2.5 significant strikes, less than 2.5 significant strikes. He's also shown that he can go the distance, grinding out wins against top-tier guys like a Barbosa, like a Josh Emmett. I think his technical, crisp boxing and proven cardio are going to be too much for Pico, and I think he's going to win this one by decision. I think that he's going to be able to anti-grapple, stay away from the cage, and I think he's going to piece Pico up on the feet. Listen up, it's main event time. You got the champ, Dricus du Plessis, against the boogeyman, the Boars, Khamzat Chimaev. And my official pick is going to be Khamzat. I got to be honest. I'm not feeling great about it. This isn't a confident play. It's a gut feeling. And the odds are just flat out disrespectful to the champ, in my opinion. But my reasoning is going to be Khamzat's wrestling. He's a human grappling machine. He's averaging over 4.5 takedowns per 15 minutes. With a staggering 100% takedown defense, so you're not taking Khamzat down. That's just not happening. And when he gets you down, you're not getting up. We saw him absolutely maul Kevin Holland, which I say this all the time about Kevin Holland. Even though he's not a good wrestler, he's a very good grappler. Holland is a very good jiu-jitsu artist. And he got bullied on the ground by Khamzat. Right? Now, the question is, can he do that to a guy like DDP? DDP is a lot bigger. He's a giant for the division. He has a huge reach, 76-inch reach, and he's just so big and powerful, and he has that dog mentality, right? In every sense of the word, he is an absolute dog. He walked through Robert Whittaker. He had 2 wars against Sean Strickland. He beat up Izzy. The guy just doesn't quit, and that leads to my biggest concern with Khamzat, and it's the gas tank. The Gilbert Burns fight, the Usman fight, he started gassing really hard, and he still won those, but it just showed that he's human. And I think if you show in the fight that you're human against DDP, he's going to beat you. He's going to go after you. So I think if this fight gets into the third round, I might change my pick. But I'm going to bet on Khamzat's wrestling being so dominant early on that he's going to get a finish before it even gets deep. So we're going to go with Boers finally getting the championship. Ever since COVID, we all wanted Khamzat to be a champ. We all wanted him to go for the belt someday. Here it is. Now we got Khamzat versus DDP for the middleweight title, and I think Khamzat walks away with it. 319 is a weird one. It's a weird one. It's a really good card, don't get me wrong. It's a really good card, but I'm talking about from a profit standpoint. Because a lot of the fighters I do think are going to win, I do think they're going to win, but they're just such big favorites when I think the fight's a lot closer. Right? There's a couple of them like that in this card where I'm like, maybe it shouldn't be minus 200. Maybe it should be more like minus 150, minus 160. Like, there's just some odds that I think they're a little bit big for this card, even though this is a really good card. But let's not complain. Let's just be happy that we're here. And let's talk about the Bacon Bets parlay. We're going to go with my man, Carlos Prates, the smoker himself. I think he's going to smoke Jeff Neal. I actually don't. I think it's going to be a pretty good fight, but we're going to go with Carlos Prates on this one. Then we're going to go with Chase the Dream Hooper. I love Chase Hooper. I did say I think Hernandez does pose some problems for him. I just think that he's so hungry. He wants it really bad right now. He's surging. He's a guy that wants to get ranked pretty soon, and I think he is going to. Maybe even with a submission finish in this one. And the last one, Michel Olesek. I like him a lot in this one. Mirart is chinny. I know he just had that war with RDR, so I think people are kind of overhyping him right now or overrating him. We got to remember who Mirart is. Mirart's a guy who gets knocked out a lot, and Michel O knocks everybody out. So that's where we're going to go with that one. That's UFC 319. I hope everyone enjoyed. I hope you guys are watching. Do the like, share, subscribe, all that stuff. If we win money, make sure you're commenting. That's what I care about. I want comments. So if we win money, comment that you won money. Show some of your parlays in the comments. Do what you got to do. Let's get it. 319. Thank you to our producer, John Roy. Thank you, everybody else. I'll see you at the show. Money talk.